we need to talk about Jill Stein again. We need to talk about Jill Stein. And very specifically, we need to talk about this bit of polling data coming out of Pennsylvania, which is maybe one of the funniest things I've seen in a hot minute, and I think really underscores my rant from the other day about the feckless uselessness, the deliberate uselessness of the Green Party outside of acting as a spoiler party. Here's polling data from the Washington Post showing Harris and Trump neck and neck in Pennsylvania, right? With the full field, however, Harris maintains 48% support, whereas Trump loses 1% of his support to Jill Stein, and that makes up the entirety of her support in Pennsylvania. Guys, the Green Party is just a Republican op, and 1% might not seem like a lot, but when you're talking about two otherwise evenly matched opponents, 1% can mean the difference between winning and defeat. I thought it was a Russian op too. Look, we don't know that for sure, but here's Jill Stein from earlier today after being interviewed on The Blaze TV by Alex Stein. Now, some of you may have forgotten who Alex Stein is. Here's the clip I was looking for. Alex Stein is basically a clown. He's a conservative clown. And I mean that in the full meaning of the word clown. He just says things to get a rise, to own the libs. He is built entirely around producing outrage. He will say and do anything. He's talked about how he believes that the planes that hit the Twin Towers on September 11th, 2001 were holograms. He'll just say anything. It doesn't matter. It's why I don't typically talk about him on my show, because he's the precursor of the nothing matters era of conservatism, where they'll just say whatever because it's all vibes based and post-factual. If you want a real idea of what type of content Alex Stein puts out, here is a 44-second clip from his show that I have to clarify, is on The Blaze and didn't get canceled or fired for this.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Just have a banana. Just eat the banana. Eat the banana. It's going to be okay. Eat the banana. Eat the banana. Stick it in your mouth. 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 Stick it all the way in there. Get it in there. Get it in there. Get it all the way in. As deep as it'll go. Okay. All right.
Kind of gerbils eat into the cheek.
All right, that's good. Keep eating it. Suck on the banana. Oh, don't drop the banana. Keep sucking on it. You're not finished yet. All the way to the finish. Sorry.
So anyway, that's the type of content he puts out, and this is the person who interviewed Jill Stein recently. Here's Jill Stein on that experience, by the way.
If we get the word out to the people who are most impacted, they could be coming out and registering like never before, and we could see a complete black swan event in an election where we've already seen, one black swan development after another. So I'd say don't count your chickens here before they hatch. The American people are really hungry for change. Let's let the American people decide. Let's get the options out before them. Thank you for being real journalists here and, actually getting the word out to the American people who need to be informed and empowered to make the decisions that we need to make about what our lives and our future look like. If we get the word...
To be clear, that's at the end of the interview after they interviewed her. She called the guy you just saw orally penetrating a man in tears with a banana a real journalist. Let's take a look at this 33-second long clip of Alex Stein. Alex Stein here is on the right.
For the people that are watching, and there's some girl that watches on Twitter, I think it's names like Emma May or something. She works for Matters, and she watches every episode.
Yes.
And that's why it makes sense that we were on Jimmy Kimmel, because now, dude, they watch every episode of every own show. It's insane. So if that girl's watching this, right now. AOC is my favorite big booty Latina, but hey, you're my favorite big booty Media Matters journalist.
Yeah, she's a big fan of In Focus here at OAN. Now,
Yeah, also Alex Stein is also famous for sexually harassing AOC repeatedly. So that's his other claim to fame. Real journalism right here. Thanks for pointing it out to us, Jill Stein. And I just have to say that there is a great deal of disgust in me for Jill Stein as a person, but also I just want people to know that she's blatantly working with conservatives. It seems pretty clear to me that she is a conservative op. That is backfiring laughably, as we can see from the polling. But I think it is a cynical ploy to use people's concerns, justified concerns, over genocide in Gaza, and funneling all of that enthusiasm into a cynical shell of a woman who is going around and being buddy-buddy with conservative media. I don't know, is that crazy of me? Is it crazy to ask for a little bit of, like, discretion here from people who are trying to take principled stands? Yeah, well, they were directly benefiting from Jill Stein right up until, like, very recently when Stein is taking 1% of the vote share from Donald Trump, which is still very, very funny to me. What has she done that people like her for? I mean, basically, she said if elected, she'll end the genocide in Gaza, which is great, but she's not going to get elected. She has no institutional power, and she doesn't have any actual plans. It's very much, oh, she's saying the right things. I agree with her virtue signal. One thing I wanted to bring up is that, remember the other day when I was talking about how the fascism is going 100% Hitler, right? I was really trying to get that point across, and I think I mostly succeeded on that. The main thing that I saw a lot of people responding to, though, was, well, how could they lash out? Like, how could J.D. Vance lash out when he has an Indian wife? He has an Indian American wife who's like a black and brown person. What's going on here? And I just have to tell you guys, conservatives don't care. It's built into the ideology, right? Anti-empiricism is built into the ideology of fascism. So it is incredibly easy for people in positions of power to basically be like, well, yeah, look, when I'm at work, I say that Haitians are subhuman. I just say that at work, but at home, I love my wife. And they think they're the exceptions to the rule. So anyway, we'll explore this a little bit. Here's J.D. Vance talking about Haitian migrants.
Hi, Senator. Mia McCarthy with Politico. Question for you about the Haitian migrants in Springfield. So I know you've talked a lot about how we need to deport illegal aliens, but I wanted to ask you, the majority of the Haitians in Springfield came under TPS, so they are here legally. And I know you've expressed a lot of your issues with the TPS program and wanting to change that under a Trump-Vance administration. But I guess my question for you is, if you become the vice president under a Trump administration, what will you guys do about the migrants that are already there, since they did arrive legally? And a follow-up to that, if you plan to deport them, how would you do that legally?
Well, look, this is a media and Kamala Harris fact check that I want to clarify and clear up right now. Now, the media loves to say that the Haitian migrants, hundreds of thousands of them, by the way, 20,000 in Springfield, but hundreds of thousands of them all across our country, they are here legally.
Which they are. That is true.
And what they mean is that Kamala Harris used two separate programs, mass parole and temporary protective status. She used two programs to wave a wand.
Also, she can't do anything. She's vice president. Vice presidents don't do that.
And to say, we're not going to deport those people here. Well, if Kamala Harris waves the wand illegally...
The United States has the legal power to grant people temporary protected status. That is a legal power the government has. He's trying to say she did a legal thing illegally, but she didn't? Because it wasn't her, number one. And number two, it's a legal process. that was followed.
And says these people are now here legally, I'm still going to call them an illegal alien. An illegal action from Kamala Harris does not make an alien legal. That is not how this works.
Except that the thing you're saying that she did that was illegal. Can you give us more detail on that? In what way did she break the law? I want JD Vance. I want any reporter to ask JD Vance to lay out the steps. What did Kamala Harris do? Start to finish, that was illegal about this process. What did she specifically do? I have a feeling that JD Vance might not be able to answer that question. They might be legal migrants, but I'm still gonna call them illegals. Because again, we live in a post-fact society. These people don't care about truth. These people don't care about empirical data. They just care about lying to project their power, and that is it. Full stop. It's one of the reasons it's a death cult. When we're talking about how these people are fascists, it's not hyperbole. You guys just saw him acknowledge, well, they're here legally, but some secret third thing was done illegally, so I'm just gonna keep lying about their status. And you know how we played that clip? It was Megyn Kelly interviewing the editor-in-chief of National Review, one of the largest conservative publications in the country. And he just said the N-word. He just called Haitian immigrants the N-word. They were saying he was trying to say immigrants and migrants and got them confused and accidentally said the full N-word before correcting himself, which I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. That being said, is this on video? Ms. Milena, it is indeed. And you want to know what the kicker? Neither that guy nor Megyn Kelly address it at all. They don't even blink. They just keep on trucking through the show. In a similar vein, JD Vance is desperate to say the same. He's desperate to play from that playbook. And here's how I know. Let's watch this clip.
And Kamala Harris has been chaos all over the world. She can't answer a single question without sounding like a whatever. And she's had
without sounding like a whatever. You guys see like the faces immediately light up, and it's not every face either. It's a handful of white dudes, because they know what he means. In these circles, when JD Vance is going around talking about how if Kamala Harris wins, oh man, it doesn't matter what the White House will smell like. Fried chicken or curry? He dropped that casually in a conversation. I think that most people in the audience he was speaking to think one of two things. And number one, I think they think he meant bitch. But number two, I think a lot of people in that audience thought he was coming right up and dog whistling the N-word. Those are the two possibilities in my mind. But the thing is, you want to keep as much plausible deniability for as long as possible. On top of that, guys, JD Vance's wife is Indian, but he's willing to walk right up to that line. His wife is not white, but he's willing to walk right up to that line. He's willing to distribute these narratives of immigrants taking over. There's no mask anymore, and there is a dissociation that Republicans are undergoing where they think they're going to be shielded from any kind of blowback from this. They're not. Here is one of the best examples I can possibly come up with. Do you guys remember critical race theory? Do you guys remember when that was all the rage in Republican circles? And now it's moved on to DEI. A long time ago, it was welfare queens, the undocumented welfare queens. Well, guys, the guy who's behind critical race theory, the DEI talking points, trans kids in sports, he's a political strategist named Christopher Rufo. And guys, his wife is from Thailand. And not only is she from Thailand, she was an undocumented immigrant. Guys, this is one of Chris Rufo's posts from 2018. There have been rumors circulating that call into question the harassment against my family. Here's a statement from my wife, Sufatra. I came to the United States as an undocumented immigrant in the late 1980s. My mother brought me here to escape abuse and human trafficking in my native Thailand. I grew up in a small town in New Hampshire where we were the only minority family. I experienced a lot of intolerance growing up. I remember being refused service in a restaurant. I remember boys holding back the doors at my school so I couldn't get in, yelling, "Go back to your country." I remember the school librarian asking me if I was a child prostitute in Thailand. I remember my college boyfriend being stopped at a grocery store and asked if he had purchased me abroad. That's Chris Rufo's wife. He makes his living fear-mongering against undocumented immigrants. His wife. This is what I mean. We are post-factual. The fascists do not believe in empiricism. They do not believe in truth. They do not believe in a shared reality. They believe themselves to be shielded from the consequences of their rhetoric. It's a fun game. It's other people who will suffer, not us. Imagine going to work every day and your main contributions to society are, hey, how can we allow people to be more racist in public? And hey, how about we say any kind of non-white professional is subpar at their jobs? When you have mixed race children with your undocumented immigrant wife, the people you are catering to, you are fostering hatred in them for your own children, for your own wife, who you supposedly love. But it's not real to these people. It's just a power game. Because that's the only thing that matters under fascism. It's the power. And you will burn anyone and anything in order to maintain it and hold on to it. And guys, just to remind you, Chris Rufo put out a $5,000 bounty to collect dirt on Haitian migrants who are here legally. This is what he does on a daily basis. The fascists do not care about truth. They do not care about anything. Even the people that they profess their love for the most. They do not care. Power is it. If they can kill you to get power, they will. They're willing to fuck over their own wives and children. How much worse do you think they will do to you? I just want to say, we are in this post-fact world, and all we can really do is cling to each other and do the best we can, and hopefully win this election, because these people cannot be granted the power they seek. I think it would be detrimental to all of us, per se.
Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and Swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, being plenty more.